and welcome back to CAST New York's video series celebrating 50 years of Germany's membership at the United Nations. Today we're taking a closer look at Germany's commitment to peace and security worldwide, both of which form the fundamental cornerstones of its foreign policy. For Germany, multilateral cooperation is key to achieving and ensuring peace and security, including through its membership and involvement at the United Nations. Today's interview will highlight Germany's support for UN efforts to facilitate Libya's peace process, and in particular, Germany's pivotal role in launching the Berlin process. We are honored to speak with Ambassador Taher El-Sonni, Permanent Representative of Libya to the United Nations in New York. To start us off, could you share more about what was the genesis of the Berlin process, and what was the advantage of having Germany in a leadership and peace broker role throughout?
Thanks for having me, and it's really kind of a long story, but it started during the transitional period of once the Government of National Accord was introduced by a UN-led process. That was after signing what we call the Sicherheit agreement, the Libyan political agreement, in 2015. And after that, there was a lot of attempts trying to unite the country around a unified government. But unfortunately, there was a lot of challenges ahead with that government, and it reached a point to its peak of conflict in 2019 with the unfortunate attempt to attack Tripoli, and that was where things got more challenging. Of course, we all know that the situation in Libya has been ongoing since 2011, of uncertainty and instability. Part of the main reasons was the number of international interventions in Libya, and physical interventions in many cases, and indirect interventions. And there was a point where, as much as we needed consensus within Libyans and Libyan political parties, we also needed some kind of international consensus around the situation in Libya to actually try to help reach kind of a political process that will lead to kind of a conclusion in the end with a proper steady state. So it was in that time where Germany came in, and with the leadership of Chancellor Merkel, to try to, with her good office, to mediate, with the number of internationals involved in Libya. And this was welcomed by Libyans at that time, and it came in a very critical point where we were in the middle of this conflict that started in April 2019. So we managed to have the first Berlin process. And in that conference, that's where the beginning of the agreement on a ceasefire has been launched. So that was a very important turning point. But Germany always had this way, being a member of the European Union and with its weight in Europe and its neutrality within the Libyan context. That's what gave it a kind of an upper hand in being able to introduce such political kind of, let's say, processes.
Did you consider some of the major achievements of the Berlin process, and how have these come to shape the current political and security situation in Libya?
The first Berlin process was very important because it was the first time out of the Security Council and the UN where there was a way to bring in the leaders of the major players in relation to Libya. And that was in a time where we were desperate, to kind of reach a ceasefire. And that was the beginning of the steps forward to actually sign a ceasefire in 2020, because this first Berlin process was in January when it was launched. So I think that was kind of the beginning of this, and we managed to achieve that. So that was a major goal achieved. Building on that, there was these working groups that were kind of set up, economical, security, and political, that engaged also these kind of countries in working with the UN and the UN mission in Libya, trying to kind of work in parallel, hand in hand, to finalize a settlement or finalize an agreement. That was one of the major things that we managed to achieve, which then led to the Berlin II, which I can tell you about also, that happened in 2021.
To end on a forward-looking note then, what further steps can Germany make in supporting Libya's political and peace process?
Well, I think it goes without saying that since we have a success that happened, even if it was not the best, all the kind of, let's say, goals were achieved from the Berlin I or Berlin II process. Berlin II process, when it was done, it managed to pave the road for what we call now the political process towards elections in that time, and there was the new government of national unity that came in, and that was kind of one of the also actual, let's say, tangible results from the Berlin II. I see that this gives also a responsibility on Germany now, because Libyans looking forward to continue this kind of effort for bringing, especially with the divisions that are happening now as we speak. There was the dream of elections that every Libyan wanted by end of 2021. It didn't happen. There was the hope in 2023, this year, by end of the year, which will happen. We don't see that. So I think it's time now for also Germany to, with its good office, to try to push that agenda of the democratic process that we are looking forward for, and support the UN kind of led, let's say, agreement to try to find a way and a breakthrough and see where the obstacles are. Because honestly speaking, many of the challenges are not within Libya. We are not out of the regional dynamics that are happening. When we have the Ukraine war, it has its impact one way or another. We have regional challenges. All of these things kind of fall into together. So the stability of Libya in particular is a very critical thing for the stability of all the region.
Ambassador, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, and thank you to everyone for watching our video series.
Thank you.